And just like that, we are back for another Mental Man Monday live stream. PSA, the Mental Health Podcast. It's back again. And what was I about to say? And we are getting to the point where these Mental Man live streams are starting to do numbers on YouTube a little bit. And it's funny because they don't do them like instantly, but they do them like they don't do them instantly, but then they'll do them like as the days go, and then the clips will be good for the engagement as well. So last week I told you we was gonna have a guest because the first two episodes I didn't, the first two recaps I didn't, and last week we had one, and we got one today, which I'm pretty excited about because I used to work with my guest today. She's the first woman to do the Mental Man live streams, and like I just told her, I'm still gonna keep them mainly men because for the live streams, of course, the podcast itself don't matter, but try to keep it mainly men for the live streams. But not only is she a lovely woman, she's also a licensed professional, and she's going to explain that when I add her. And we got what a few things to talk about today. So let me go ahead and add her. And I think I'm live on Instagram. Am I live on Instagram? Yeah, I'm live on Instagram. All right, what is going on?
Hey, good evening.
Good evening for sure. So, tell the people. Obviously, they can see your name on the thing, but it's gonna be the audio too. So, tell the people your name, where you from, and then tell the people what it is that you do.
Hey, everybody. I am Jasmine Miller, a licensed professional counselor associate, a former school counselor, teacher, been working with children and adults for years. I it is my mission to spread mental wellness to the people who may not have access to it, and to just bring knowledge to people that don't know.
Okay, good stuff. So, you did say you have your own practice now. So, real quick, how did you go about getting into that, and how long have you been doing it?
Now I do have my own practice. I have been active for 1 year. It's
Okay.
a 1 year anniversary in August. So we have been open a full year, but I've been in practice for 3 years as a school counselor. And I got into it. I always knew I wanted to be a counselor. I always knew I wanted to spread mental health awareness to people that don't know, because where I come from, we didn't know.
Yeah. No, definitely for sure. So good stuff. Like I said, we're gonna pick more into her brain on the episode when we drop it, as far as like the actual podcast soon. So you have to let me know your schedule about that. But today we got three different topics we're gonna talk about. The first one being a recap of, for those that didn't catch this week's episode, we had to split track three. I kept saying, I'm gonna keep saying it. We had to split track three into two parts because it was so long, and I didn't want people to lose interest because it was an hour and 40 minutes total. So I said, let's split it up. And that's what made it into two parts. So this week we did the part two of track three. So did you get a chance to get into that?
Yes, I watched it.
Okay. So what stood out to you? What did you like? What didn't you like? If you didn't like anything, because it's possible not to like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna give it's something that she mentioned that I kind of agree with, but I actually didn't later. So I want to see what you think first. So what's your take on it?
Um, my likes. I really enjoyed the way that she talked. She definitely discussed different ways about time management, to manage your time and to break things up into smaller pieces, which really works. And that's something I'm doing as a business owner. You do have to manage your time differently because there's no one scheduling it for you now. So that was
Wow.
one. See, exactly. So it does work. So I definitely appreciated her talking about that. She definitely promoted her book a lot. It definitely made me want to go Google it. Like, okay, what is she talked about it every a lot. So I was like, okay, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Um Now some things that I may not have agreed with, but I can understand the way she said it, or why
Yeah.
she said it, about was anxiety may not be what did she say? Like genetic, it can't
Yeah,
be passed down. I may have agreed with that because I'm a little different. I do believe that symptoms of anxiety can be passed down, but I did agree with the way she said the way you handle it is also is passed down because everybody does have anxiety. It is all about the way we manage it.
yeah, yeah. And so the thing with that is, like I said, I think she was a great guest, and I love to see people so open about stuff that they've been through, and for her to have, been in the adult film industry and all those years, and that, because honestly, I break the fourth wall on here, so I always get my notes together with the episodes. But but for some reason, when I looked into her, I didn't see that. So and nobody could tell because I'm good at what I do. So I was asking a lot of those porn questions on the spot because I didn't even know until she said it. I was like, oh, what? And I'm like, how did I overlook that? So of course I didn't, but I just kind of played into it. But what I thought was interesting, and that's why I wanted you, because I know you're a professional. So I wanted to ask your take on it because, again, too, she's from one culture, we're from another. So she made the comment about, which I do believe to an extent, when she said all anxiety isn't necessarily bad, but in the same breath, I felt like, they say the phrase, have fear and do it anyway.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of against that recently because I feel as though we're basically supposed to just embrace fear, and we believe that we're supposed to come out of fear. So, and then when I even looked at some of the synonyms for anxiety, it was fear, angst, um, and it was something else that stood out as something negative. So, what was your take on that part?
Um, when it comes to anxiety, once again, everyone does have anxiety and we all handle it differently. I will agree and say that a little bit of anxiety is okay. It does kind of keep you on edge. It keeps you motivated. It does
Yeah,
keep you going because it is something, it's kind of thrill seeking. It gives you something to go against. Like you said, you do want to face your fears. We all have that we all have that want and the sense of accomplishment when we do face those fears. So of course we want that as well. We definitely get different rises of dopamine and serotonin from accomplishing goals. So it, like you said, it is a sticky situation when it comes to anxiety. All anxiety is not bad anxiety. Like for example, when you're running, you're
right.
getting anxious, but that's good anxiety because in the long run it helps you.
Yeah,
So it's depending on the person, and it's also dependent on how you've been taught to handle those things.
right. Because my grandma, I didn't realize it was anxiety, but growing up, she always say she was nervous, so that makes her so nervous, but she meant anxious. And so then she would just tell people, well, can you just have a drink or something? And we know that, we'd all done it, but that's not the proper way to handle it. But that's her take on it. Like, well, let me just go have a drink, or let me just go, she wasn't smoking no weed because, that generation, they ain't smoking no weed. But they would definitely, get drunk. So I think it's just how you, like you said, how you look at it. But and maybe not that she worded it bad, because I don't think she worded it bad, but it did kind of come off a little bit like she was saying, like, how did she say it? Just kind of like be fearful anyway. And I get when people say that, but we really shouldn't do that at the same time, if that makes sense.
I mean, yes, it's still dependent on the context.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. It depends on the context. So I think that, and with, like, in her time, she didn't have the full time. You can't name every scenario. So there's that. What was I about to say? Anything else about the episode before we go into the first topic for the day?
I really enjoyed that episode. I enjoyed her take as a liberated person. It was very refreshing
Yeah, for
to
sure.
have
Because yeah, because a lot of times, though, when in those environments that she was in, they kind of go down that rabbit hole and then they never come out. So for her to come out and be doing what she's doing, which I told her, she emailed me, she said, get the book. I said, I'm gonna get the book. That's my next project in my little 60-day cleanse from all the stuff that I'm doing. And for those that don't know, I'm on day, I think, 28 right? 28, no alcohol, waking up every day at 7, except one day out the week. Um, one raw meal a day, fruits or vegetables or both, however you want to do it, and then reading 5 to 10 pages of a book a day. So, or something a day. So we try to do that, keep that going. And like I said, I can't quit or can't have a break because I'm running it. Now, if I was maybe a member of it, I might could, but I can't since I'm running it. Okay, good stuff. So we'll talk about the next episode at the end of what's to come. All right. So the first topic today, it was kind of hard to find topics because I didn't want to keep talking about Donald Trump. I talked about him 2 weeks in a row. I didn't talk about him last week, but we leaving politics alone. But something that happened this week was between DJ Vlad and Marlon Wayans, and they was going back and forth. And we're gonna watch. I found a YouTube video that got some of their what's the word I'm looking for? Some of their comments back and forth. But for the synopsis of it was DJ Vlad wanted to interview Marlon Wayans, and apparently his fee was $40K. And DJ Vlad basically felt like he shouldn't have to pay that for no Marlon Wayans. That's how he said. I'm not saying it like that's what he's saying. So I have a video we're gonna watch real quick that's going to kind of give a quick breakdown of what happened, and we're gonna go from there.
You insinuate that you should make more money off of your story than me. So he started running interview questions and interviews with people, getting the reaction to Marlon Wayans asking for $40,000 for an interview. And in these clips, DJ Vlad is basically like, Marlon is crazy. Nobody's ever going to pay him that much money to do an interview and yada, yada, yada. And this prompted people to start tweeting about the situation. So we got this tweet right here that says, Marlon Wayans, you a good one because DJ Vlad would have to pay me $500,000 for an interview with 55% of our revenue made from the video on all platforms. And Marlon Wayans responded to that and said, see, I tried to tell him I was giving him a deal. Oh, well. And this tweet is what sparked DJ Vlad to start talking about Marlon Wayans on Twitter and led into this meltdown where he gets absolutely roasted by Marlon. So DJ Vlad posts up this screenshot right here that is basically a screenshot of YouTube and interviews that Marlon Wayans has done recently. And he posted this so that he could show the view count, 132,000 views, 315,000 views, and 230,000 views. And with that, he said Marlon Wayans found someone with 200 followers to agree with him. LOL. Nobody on earth is going to pay Marlon $40K for an interview when he gets 100 to 300,000 views on any platform he interviews on. This guy is really delusional. Now, Marlon responded to that and said, you mad? You unprofessional, my guy. If you don't like the number, keep it moving. You look bad. You should fall back. Mad at a black man stating his number. And now you go public and use your platform to try to drag me. I never in my life dealt with this silly negotiating tactic. And Vlad swung back at that statement like a rookie boxer in his first match and said, not mad at all. I find this all amusing because you really think that you're worth $40,000 for an interview. I said there's nobody on earth that will pay you that, and I have yet to be proven wrong. Throwing out a stupid ass number for an interview is unprofessional, my guy, because your interviews don't even make 5% of that on every platform you do. And bringing up race when there was no mention of it throughout all of our discussions shows how weak of a man you really are. And I gotta stop Vlad right there, because how the fuck does Vlad know what Marlon Wayans was paid by all them other people he did interviews with? Maybe they did pay him $40,000. Vlad, you ain't got back end data on all them different channels. You have no idea. First off, second off, telling somebody that they're not worth a number that in your head you think they're not worth is absolutely crazy, especially when you know damn well you're going to take those videos, you're going to clip them up. You're not just going to post the one interview like all the other platforms did. Now you're going to take it, you're going to make 60 different clips out of it that each do 100,000 views, and then you'll post a full interview. We all know that that's how Vlad works. He tries to maximize the profit that he can make off of hip-hop culture or off of black culture in general, right? So let's do the math on that real quick. On YouTube, you get paid for every 1,000 views that you do. Now it varies from channel to channel how much money people crabs in a barrel. I see your angle now. I watched you play your hand. You want us to talk shit, beef, and tear each other down while you sit back and make money. Meanwhile, you don't even show your face. And Vlad responded. He said, not only do I show my face, but when I do interviews on the same platforms as you, more than twice as many people watch. Here are the actual views when we did the Breakfast Club 1 month apart. You reached your peak 20 years ago and have been on a decline ever since. There's nothing wrong with that, but you seem to think that this is still 2004. I've been dropping facts with actual numbers this entire time, and all you could do is play the lame ass race card in response. So keep looking in the mirror and lying to yourself about who you think you are. The numbers don't back it up. And he posted this screenshot where he did 700,000 views on the Breakfast Club and Marlon Wayans did 200. So all my people don't mess with you, period. Don't watch nothing you put out. You feed off dividing and exploiting black people and artists. You are divisive and bad for our community.
All right, we're gonna stop it there because they went back and forth for a very long time. But I think we got the point of what was going on because it was a lot said. So let's get into the first segment, which is what does this have to do with mental health? So first of all, it's unfortunate Well, first of all, I'm glad to see for his own mental state that Marlon Wayans knows his worth, and even if he don't think that people know his worth, he knows his worth. What I will say, people call DJ Vlad. So, are you familiar with DJ Vlad?
Similar, semi.
Yeah, little. So
Mhm.
basically, he interviews all these people, and he takes, which most people do, but he really does. He interviews all these people, asks the good questions, and he'll take a bunch of different clips from that same interview and maybe post 30 clips from the interview. Like his marketing is genius. And then, as you see, he's a white man, so he tends to interview a certain community, and as you see just from the like back and forth, he was saying like you're a culture vulture, which that's one of the comments people say about DJ Vlad all the time. He's a culture vulture. And I don't know if he did this on purpose. And I'm not trying to get into the race card, but what I will say is I've noticed a lot of times people that have his pigment or his skin tone, I should say, sometimes feel as though we as a people are always trying to play the race card. And I don't think, but sometimes I think with them, with white people, I almost say with them, I think sometimes they don't realize that some things that they do, and I've actually defended white people before. I would say they do and say stuff sometimes, and I don't think they're being racist. I really just think they're being ignorant. I really don't think they mean with nothing behind it. I think they just sometimes be doing stuff. Now, like I said, you aren't the most familiar with DJ Vlad, but we can just talk about the premise of what is going on. So, as a Black person yourself and as a mental health professional, how do you feel seeing people take our people sometimes? And sometimes they may be trying to help, other times it's not always the case. Because we've been looking at some of these shows, these reality shows where Black people are fighting, and a lot of the times the head honcho, they may have the Black person as a face of the company, but the real master puppeteer behind the scenes is white. So what is your view on that, and how do you think it affects the mental health of us as a community?
I believe that people only respond based on their experiences. So obviously, whatever Marlon has experienced is that. That's
Right.
why he went that way. He's seen it, he's analyzed it, he's watched enough of DJ Vlad to understand that, hey, this is your platform, this is what you do. And so he was not trying to, I don't believe that he was trying to throw a race card, but I do believe that he understands that he's Black and he understands what that other person is doing toward the culture. It's not a black or white card. It's just, hey, I understand what's really going on.
Okay. So do you think Marlon Wayans is worth 40K for an interview?
I believe that he is worth whatever he tells somebody and they pay for it.
Okay. I mean, I don't really have a number to give them a don't take away, so I don't
Right?
really care personally. But I know, but some people were saying like, I saw the back and forth, but I don't know, honestly. I just think it's interesting the back and forth. And he was also, it was another tweet that didn't show, but he basically, they went because they were going back and forth for the longest. And he told him like something to the extent of DJ Vlad told Marlon Wayans, like, basically saying something like, you probably would get 40K for a gay porn scene since you've been doing all that. um he did the stuff to celebrate his, I think he has a trans daughter or son, not sure which one. And then he has a lot of gay people in his family, so he decided to wear the mask and in celebration of that. And yeah, so next segment, so what would I do in this situation? Okay, so I'm gonna ask you in a minute, but in this situation, if it was me, I don't know. DJ Vlad, as an interviewer, I'm gonna speak from that angle. As an interviewer, I can't speak as a white man because I don't know what that's like. But as an interviewer, I can say that there have been people I've reached out to who never responded, and or might have said, "Oh, this is my fee." Even if I didn't think they deserved that fee, I'm not about to go publicly and try to be like, ask people in my interviews, do you think this person is worth this? Do you think that person is worth it? Because even if he's not worth that, what people got to realize is you look like a hater. Even if you're not a hater, let's say you're not, you look like a hater. As far as Marlon, because he is, can we call Marlon a legend? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's
I mean,
what I thought.
Wayans brothers. I'm like, that's what I'm like. He's asking for 40K. Like, he has a roll sheet, guys. Like,
Yeah.
He's actually a talented brother. 40K is nothing for a guy of that platform.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can say that he's a legend. It's like, as a legend, you over here saying this man is a culture vulture and all these things. I don't feel as though he should have been going back and forth with him. That's my thing. And I just feel as though it happens to the best of us. We let our emotions get the best of us. It is what it is. But it's somebody at you with your caliber. It's people who didn't even know who DJ Vlad was now because of you. Now they know who he is.
Yep.
What would you do in this situation?
Like you said, the best response is no response. I believe that when he said, hey, this is my fee, pay it or be quiet. Like it is what it is. And he is a legend. You don't have to go back and forth with someone who doesn't know you. Hey, this is what I feel. If you don't agree, we can agree to disagree. Go find you someone else. Someone will pay me 40. Like,
yeah.
This is what I feel about me. This is where I am in my life. This is what I'm asking for. He did white chicks. Like, are you serious right now? We still quote white chicks to this day. So
it's crazy because that movie is now 20 years old because it came out in 2004. But I'm gonna say this because I haven't had a licensed professional on this segment in a while, so I have to ask, what would you have? So that's what you would have said if Marlon was in your chair. What would you have said to DJ Vlad if he was in your chair? If he was one of your clients?
And he doesn't want to pay the 40K?
Yeah.
That's what I would tell him. I would tell him, hey, that's the fee. Like, well, thank you. Thank you for your time. Go find somebody else to do that. And if I was DJ Vlad to Marlon, I'd be like, okay, well, thank you. I'm not paying that. I appreciate, your time. Like it's really, you don't have to go back and forth. It's hey, this is what it is. You don't like it? Next, bye.
I don't know. It's definitely some rejection there that he just kind of he took in and he ain't all the way over yet. So that's what it seems like. But okay, let's go to the next segment. WWJD, what would Jesus do? So, as we know, in this situation, it's the most morally and ethically correct thing to do. In a situation like this, if Jesus was rejected and moved on, so he would get a word, he would say what he had to say. They either received it, and if they didn't, he wasn't crying about it. He did what he had to do. And so the same thing kind of go with Marlon too, where which also happened if Jesus was in the other shoe or in the other foot, in his good foot, and somebody's basically trying to blast you publicly, there's a way to respond that's correct. But I just don't think Marlon should have did it that way. So if that would have been, so again, putting Marlon in your chair, and Marlon's like, Miller, I don't know what to do here. He's coming at me on right now. I want to say something back. I want to do something. What would you have encouraged him to do?
Hey, state your fee. If that person is not able or reluctant to pay your fee, move on. Your worth is shown. You know your worth. You don't need anybody to validate that for you. You know what you want someone to pay. Someone will pay it. Keep going.
Yeah.
One monkey don't stop no show.
No, for sure. And then the last segment for this section before we move to the final topic, WSMD, what should men do in this situation? So at this point, I just don't feel, I think it's best to just let people do what they're going to do. And like I said, you don't have to prove yourself to nobody. I guess it is hard to not defend yourself when somebody's just blasting you like that, because DJ Vlad was doing the most. But I just feel like you giving people a free show. And I say that because we know this world likes mess. Now you done gave people content to clip that up and make videos and put on the shade room for free. I just feel like at this point, if I'm gonna argue like that, and like I said, and I'm not gonna say I never do it. I hope I don't, but if I argue like that, I need to be on somewhere where I'm getting paid for it.
Right.
Like, they had these YouTube debates. We could do something like that. Or, I don't know. Like, what was the face? Young Miami, when she did the speech, not the speech, but the what was it? Her revolt about Diddy. And I told somebody they was watching, I said, Young Miami's smart. She said, you're gonna have to pay me for my pain, because she's gonna have to talk about it at some point. Well, she finally did, but not to get off topic, I don't think she answered a lot, but I don't think legally she can.
Right.
So
Non-disclosure act. Non-disclosure are a thing.
So all right, so then we're gonna get off that topic with what we said, and then we're going to the final topic. So the final topic is actually something I actually could talk about on the podcast, because we try to keep the Mental Man Mondays a little light and just like, fluff stuff. But this one is actually a little more in depth, because I saw it on my YouTube feed, and I thought it was interesting to talk about because it's something that I feel like is overlooked. So a YouTuber, his name is Fit X Fearless. He talked about why the porn addiction is a big threat to men. So we're going to watch just a little bit of it, and then we're going to talk about it, because I would love to hear your take on it from a woman's point of view. So let me share my screen and let's get to that part right now. Where is that?
Notice how disgusted you feel with yourself once you watch porn? You think that's by mistake? You think your body doesn't know that this is bad? Every time you sleep with a hot chick, if you haven't experienced that, you don't feel disgusted. You feel proud. You sleep with a girl you're attracted to, man, you feel like, whoo, I'm the fucking man. You beat your dick, you like, ugh, I'm fucking disgusting. There's a reason why. Your body knows the fucking difference, because getting with that hot girl was difficult to some degree, but your body rewards you for that. Your body rewards you for recreating, going through your biological needs with an actual person. You weren't meant to jack off. You weren't meant to watch porn. This shit didn't exist hundreds of years ago. You had to go fucking kill buffalo to get some pussy. Now you can, to get the same reward that our ancestors had to kill fucking buffalo to get. You had to provide food to get some ass. Now you just got to go on the hub, touch yourself, and you finish. Your body's like, what the fuck is going on? Makes you gloom, makes you pissed off, makes you hate life. You know this is true. Ain't no sign of relief. You get a momentary relief, but then you get in an instant state of depression. Number 3, porn makes real sex less enjoyable. This is the one thing that I hated the most with porn. That's why it drives me to stop as fast as possible. It made real sex almost unbearable. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the most natural, pure thing, sex, that a man can experience? When your testosterone is at the highest, when your dopamine receptors are firing, it makes that less enjoyable. Why is that? Because it's not as exciting. Being with a real woman with her imperfections and her real skin isn't the perfect scene. It isn't some twisted, wicked scenario that you're thinking about. It's a real girl. So what porn does is it makes you less excited to be with a girl. That shit is fucking insane. That's why.
All right, we're going to stop that there, because I don't want to chop up all his video. I want y'all to go check it out. All right, so let's go to the first part again, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? So I think it's interesting, because it's good to start seeing how so many people, especially men, are coming out talking about the dangers of porn. And I thought it also suited the conversation, since this week's past episode, or last week's episode, featuring the next adult film star, and who talked about, what she described. I don't know if it was in the first part or second part. I was like, what's something about that industry most people don't know? She said most people don't want to be there, which I thought was interesting, because you think, well, most people would think, oh, porn, this is great. I'm getting paid to have sex and get money for it. But it's actually not what people think. And so, somebody had made a comment recently, and they said, when you're actually watching that, you're potentially, in most cases, watching videos of someone who was sex trafficked. And that's actually a different way to look at it now for those who may still be watching it and struggling with it. So Mental health wise, I think that it, like he said, I agree. I want to really hone in on that part about it makes real sex less enjoyable because it's like you always want some kinky fantasy or something extreme every time. And obviously, I don't know, I don't believe you had a porn addiction, but what I will say is, what is your take on men who have porn addictions? Do you feel as though society has normalized that?
I wouldn't say that society has normalized it. I would say that it is definitely easily accessible. I would say that naked women are everywhere and they kind of make you desensitized to the sexual parts of it. Watching porn, it can, like you said, it can kind of make your mind less satisfied of the mental part, never the physical part, because the sex don't feel like sex. But the mental part of it, it could definitely affect you because it doesn't meet your expectations of whatever you built up in your mind while watching that. It doesn't meet that again. And your brain is going to always try to find what makes it that high, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, it's a drug.
Mhm.
So, but most people don't think, well, oh, I don't smoke, I don't snort, that's a drug, pop pills. Some people really may not even drink, or they may not drink excessively, so they don't think they're addicted to anything. And then whole time you're addicted to porn. And it's pushing people, because there's stories about women being addicted to porn too. Of course, I don't think it's as mainstream as a man, but it's definitely that thing. And so I think, like I said, it's just good. I feel like to people be out openly coming out about their struggles with it now, because it was very taboo for many years and still kind of is, but it's not as taboo anymore, I believe.
Mhm. Because
So
it's easy now.
yeah, because back in the day, they didn't have the computer. They had those magazines you had to find, or them wild tapes, them ebony tapes that everybody uncles and them used to be having.
Yep, I do remember. I do
Yeah.
remember.
So I don't know. It's just wild because of everybody's just so sexual with everything. And it's just like, okay, let me ask you this. This ain't got nothing. It kind of. What is your personal take on sex scenes in TV shows and movies? Because I saw a thread that said this is really unnecessary when you think about it. What is your take on it?
Um, I do believe that when we were growing up, we would have those type of things wouldn't come on until after like 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
Remember, it was like
yeah,
the daytime evening. But now, like I said, it's media is making it's desensitizing us to sex. Sex really won't mean too much of nothing because of how often it's portrayed and how it is and who it's done with in the media and in the shows. Everybody's doing it. No one has decency. No one has sometimes even self-respect when they're doing it in the shows. So they're definitely desensitizing us to what sex really is, passion and procreation.
yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, so let's move into the next segment, which is WWID. What would I do in this situation? So in this situation, I think that if you are struggling with a porn addiction of any kind, you should really, I think if you're struggling with anything, really, YouTube obviously is not a replacement for therapy or for like any, real treatment, but it does help because the Bible says faith comes by hearing. To get on YouTube and just bombard yourself with stories of people who talk about this, whatever it is you're struggling with. In this case, we're talking about that. So listen to them people talk about it, and we've all been there with that before. You wasting all your time. You look up, it's like with anything. It's even like she said with, that's the extreme part of technology and technology use. But even with like TikTok, you'll be on your phone, like we talked about in the episode, just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. You look up, it was been 45 minutes, and you like, where did the time go? And that's why I'm really eager to try this book because I want to see what it'll be like when I'm not glued to my phone every second. So I'm interested to see that. When you gonna get you a book, a course?
Um, soon, soon. I love spreading mental health, mental wellness.
We're gonna buy it off the shelves. That's what I'm saying.
I
We're gonna do
know.
it. Look, we're gonna do it like the Oprah book clubs back in the day.
No, 'cause it's real. It's real.
Okay, so obviously WWJD, what would Jesus do? So wouldn't be addicted to porn, right? But again, ethically and morally correct. I believe that it was about community. So again, I just feel like finding other like-minded individuals to have those conversations with and to get in the rooms with people who, like I said, have overcome it, that kind of stuff. Anything you want to add to that or could think of?
No, I agree with that. Joining groups and finding people who can support you through this journey because it is a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. It's definitely going to be some tripping and falling and going back sometimes, but just giving yourself grace and knowing that hey, it's a day by day, step by step process as with anything. As with any addiction, sugar, caffeine, anything.
Why don't people know sugar is an addiction?
That's the first one. People don't know that's your first addiction. That's mostly everybody's first addiction.
And I feel bad for the kids because that's that when they get on it, they like that's like they on crack for real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So WSMD, real simple. What should men do? I believe you should just piggyback off the last one. Just find you a community if you can, and just realize that it's an issue. I think that's really the first step. Realize that it's an issue. And I think a lot of people don't think it's an issue because it's like, oh, I'm exploring, I'm learning, and how much learning you gonna do? Because you're gonna learn too much, and then it's like you ain't never satisfied. And then when you're not satisfied, you're gonna keep trying stuff, kind of like how they said back in the day, which I have a group of friends growing up, weed was the gateway drug for them. Now, most people it's not, but it was because after weed, they went to lean and they went to pills, and they just got progressively worse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, somebody said on Instagram, they said 1 Corinthians 6:15-19. It says, know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ. Shall I take the members of Christ and make them members of a harlot? God forbid. And then it cuts off. But I do know basically the one about God, your body being a temple. So keep that in mind too. And whatever you're struggling with that's a sin against your body, keep that in mind only because it will help with the process. I believe it'll help with you'll think about that God watching me. He's always watching, but just to think you in that moment and God watching, that's kind of creepy. Just saying.
Yes. It is.
Okay.
It is.
So anything else you want to add before I give the final take for the day?
Yes. The one thing that you did say was that no one just accepting that it's a problem, acknowledging that it's a problem and that you're not alone with it and that people have overcome it is a big thing. Just if you can just acknowledge that it is something that you want to get fixed, that's the first step. Acknowledging is one thing. Yeah, oh, okay, yeah, I got a drinking problem, but do you want to fix it?
Right. And I think too, because I noticed it was on a TV show, but it was also in real life. I heard a story about a situation where a man had a porn addiction while being married. And so that was a big thing. And he ended up overcoming it, but it was like a big thing. So why do you think that happens sometimes in marriages?
Being married. It could happen for a multitude of reasons. Marriages, in order to be in a long, dedicated marriage, things are going to happen. You're not going to always feel your best. He's not going to always feel his best. So just, you know, life. Life can make anything happen if we're being honest with ourselves. Life can turn the nicest person into the rudest person or the rudest person into the nicest person. It's just depending on their circumstances. So that's why it happens. It happens because of something that person is missing inside of them that they go searching for.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna end it off with that one because that was a mic drop moment. Before we get on for the day, because that was it. But I want to get everybody hyped up for this week's track. So this week is As a Man series track 4, and this one is about being offended. So as a man, why are you easily offended? And in short, I don't think no man, really anybody, but no man should be easily offended. I just don't think that. I mean, there's reasons why, we all know that, but it's just we're gonna get into it this week. But it was a good one. I actually learned that when you struggle with offense, it's actually rooted in ego, because you see yourself like this or like that. And so when someone challenges that, it's like, who are you? No, this is me. And it's also, kind of like that. You want to defend yourself kind of thing. So that'll drop this Thursday. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to add today before we go?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on.
No, thank you for coming. Now, somebody said porn destroyed them. Oh, well,
It can.
it can, it can for sure. Okay, so thank you for coming on again. Y'all tune in this Thursday for the track 4, and then join us here again next Monday with another Mental Man live stream. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, I love us for real.